You've heard me talk about Mike Lindell, who I adore. You know, he's the inventor of My Pillow, and how that pillow has given me a good night's sleep that I need. In fact, I never knew how good I could sleep before I had my Pillow. Mike continues to roll out new offers on his products, and the latest one is on his towel sets. Towels aren't something you think about often. I never knew what I was missing until I tried the towels just last year. Now, you've all helped build My Pillow into the incredible company that it is today, and you've trusted Mike Lindell to give you a great night's sleep. Mike's now changing the game with his 6-piece towel set. The set's made with USA cotton, making it extremely absorbent, and yet still providing that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 2 bath, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths, typically retailing for $109.99. But for a limited time, you can get this set for the low price of $39.99. And that's using promo code Sam Sorbo. So remember, all My Pillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee. You just go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener specials to get this insanely low price of $39.99 on the towel set. You'll find deep discounts on other My Pillow products as well. So enter promo code Sam Sorbo, or you can call 800-625-5983. That's 800-625-5983 for these great radio specials. So I just thought I'd share this story because this happened to me literally just last night, and I was just recording something else. So I thought I'd bring this to you. I thought this was really interesting. So at this event, and this woman introduces her 12-year-old son to me, and he's a 12-year-old boy, and she introduced him, and he just was like, oh, and he walked away. It was rude, right? Because I was just standing there. She got a little bit embarrassed. She's like, well, he's 12. What are you going to do? And I said, really? I mean, it wasn't that uncomfortable, but I was sort of like, well, you could always homeschool. And she looked at me like, really? And I said, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if that's a problem for you, which frankly it should be, you just homeschool and you don't have that ever again. But more than that, this little behavior, this little rolling the eyes and disregarding what mom says, that's the beginning of something that's going to be bigger. The bigger he grows, right? There's a disdain there, and that's gonna stress your relationship. And so I talked to her for a while, and she gave me a lot of great excuses. People have very good excuses to not take their children out of school, to not educate them. One thing she said is he really likes speech and debate. They just started that, and he's really loving it. And she also said, he's staunchly conservative, and everybody else is liberal. And so, but he's loving the, camaraderie and the clash kind of thing. And so we talked for a little bit longer, and I was trying to make the case that she said, what would you do about speech and debate? And I was like, well, I actually ran 2 speech and debate clubs for our homeschool communities a year and a half ago, so that's what I would do. And he'd be debating in a community of relatively like-minded people, which is, our iron sharpens iron. It's not that he shouldn't go up against the liberals, but he's 12. And so to a certain degree, we want to protect him so that we can preserve his values, because when you're outnumbered and you're 12, it's harder, right? Okay. So anyway, we talked a little bit more, and it turned out I was seated next to her at dinner, and the boy was seated to my left, and her husband was across from me. And I had the pamphlet for my home learning conference, and I'd given it to her. So it was sitting on the table. So I snagged it and I put it in front of the husband, like, well, sort of as a way of introduction. This is me. This is what I do, And he's looking through it. He goes, home learning, is that like homeschooling? And I say, yeah, okay, kind of, yeah. And he looks at the boy and he says, hey, Colton, this should be right up your alley because aren't you the one asking to be homeschooled? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, how do I put this? If your child asks you to homeschool them, you really, as the parent, you really have a responsibility to serve them in that way. Now, you can work whatever deal you want. It doesn't have to look like you might think it has to look. It doesn't have to look like they might think it has to look. They're not steering the ship. But if your child asks you to homeschool them, first of all, there are reasons, some of which you may never know. And there are distinct reasons. And of the ones that you might know, one of them is your child wants to see you as a hero, and you shouldn't let them down. Now, there are three possible answers. I can't because I'm too dumb. The child doesn't want to hear that because they don't want to think of you as dumb. The school wants them to think of you as dumb, and you shouldn't allow them to think of you as dumb, okay? The second is I can't because I don't have time. The child doesn't want to hear that. You ought to be prioritizing your children. They should be the priority. And then the third would be I can't because I can't afford it. So depending on the age of the child, well, that's why you should come to the Playbook for Home Learning conference, but you should go to my website and look at the solutions that we offer there. There are solutions. It doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of time. It does take a little bit of commitment because you ought to be committed to your children. But I think today a lot of parents commit to the school and they feel like that's their commitment to their child, but the child doesn't feel that. I baked 3 dozen cookies for your dumb bake sale for your, team uniforms or whatever. The child doesn't see any benefit there. He puts on a uniform, he puts on a t-shirt, who cares? You see what I'm saying? So if it's that you can't afford it, then you have a that's probably the best excuse, but it better be true, I guess is the best way to put it. Because if your child asks you to homeschool them, by golly, you ought to make that happen. Your job is to serve your child. And it's so amazing. I'll just say this and then I'll get off my high horse, but it's really in service of others that we find our worth. But we are prevented from understanding that or knowing it, I suppose, by the schools, because the schools say your worth is in the amount of money you make. The child does not value you because of the amount of money you make. In fact, that's often a bone of contention. So give that some thought and feel free to share your feedback. I would love to hear what you think about this in the comments. I've been having a really good time conversing with people in the comments. I do appreciate them. And also, don't forget, go over to samsorbo.com. And so be sure to join Underground Education, the community, and also you can go online and sign up for the newsletter, which comes out very randomly and not at all frequently. So, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm juggling here. All right. This is the Sam Sorbo Show. Have a great day.